have the other candidates who are running for president, have they stepped up and supported Trump enough? And name some names, who has and who hasn't.
I'll name names. I mean, where's Ron DeSantis on this? Where is the Ron DeSantis that President Trump helped create his political career? He's standing there with a knife out, stabbing it in the back of President Trump. And the people are seeing this kind of behavior. This is a time to rally around the guy who's not being prosecuted, but being persecuted.
Oh, wow. That's failed gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake. And my God, does she want to be on that VP ticket with Trump? And of course, trying to attack DeSantis and also trying to set Trump up to be the victim here is really what she's leveraging. And we know that the DeSantis campaign, they really seem to be listening. And we know this after hundreds of pages of, let's say, blunt advice, memos, and internal pollings were posted online. And it was done so by the main Super PAC that happens to back the Florida governor. What it did, and it offered us an extraordinary look into really what is likely to be DeSantis's debate strategy. Yes, that's right. Just a little background on this PAC. We know that Ron DeSantis isn't allowed to legally collaborate with the PAC, but it is worth noting that the PAC, Never Back Down, isn't just supplementing the campaign's work. It has taken over nearly every aspect of the DeSantis campaign, staging events that the candidate attends as a special guest, running a bus tour through Iowa, and paying people to knock on voters' doors to sell them on the virtues of Mr. DeSantis. Yes, Never Back Down has big bucks, and they definitely seem to be very heavily involved in the DeSantis campaign. They had nearly 97 million in cash on hand at the end of June, and that's vastly more money than any other Republicans in the race, including the frontrunner, Donald J. Trump. Now, the documents that were posted this week on the website came on the website of Axiom Strategies. That happens to be owned by the guy who runs Never Back Down. So I'm sure you can see the connection. Well, the documents, this pretty much says what DeSantis's debate strategy is likely gonna be. This from the New York Times. There are 4 basic must-dos. 1, attack Joe Biden and the media 3 to 5 times. State GRD's positive vision 2 to 3 times, hammer Vivek Ramaswamy in a response, and defend Donald Trump in absentia in response to the Chris Christie attack. Yeah, that kind of lines it up. I like the 3 times, 4 times, 2 times. It really just tells you that they kind of need that level of detail and encouragement. And of course, the no attack on Trump policy is kind of notable too. Notably missing from the debate materials is a document focused on Mr. Trump, who has been attacking Mr. DeSantis mercilessly for months. The main strategy memo for the debate contains no mention of policy, and the advice steers Mr. DeSantis away from talking about specific solutions because doing so won't get him headlines. Yes, but defend Trump seems to be the way to go. He could say that Mr. Trump was a breath of fresh air and the first president to tell the elites where to shove it, then add that the former president was attacked all the time, provoked attacks all the time, and it was nonstop. Mr. DeSantis could then argue that Mr. Trump, who has now been indicted 4 times, faces so many distractions that it's almost impossible for him to focus on moving the country forward, and that this election is too important. We need someone that can fight for you instead of fighting for himself. Isn't that really nice? It seems to me, Brett, that DeSantis's PAC, even though he's not supposed to have a PAC, well, that they really want to teeter around not upsetting Trump's MAGA crowd. Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, I love this. It is so hard to be Ron DeSantis right now. And I think it's amazing. Ron DeSantis, so the hope of many establishment people when they just heard that Ron DeSantis was in Florida being governor, GRD, Governor Ron DeSantis, what they looked at was like, oh, I think it might be time to get away from Trump and change back to essentially business as usual, but the Republican voters don't like that. What they like about Trump is even though he says things that are so stupid, at least it doesn't feel like it's scripted by some political consultant. And that's exactly what we have from the Ron DeSantis campaign. Another thing, like when we're talking about what a super PAC is and what a regular PAC is and what a campaign can do, they're not allowed to talk to each other. So because of campaign finance laws that like some of them still obey campaign finance laws. So you'll get these like dead drops is essentially what it's like. If anyone's seen spy movies, the spies are like, listen, I can't meet up with this person. and tell Ron DeSantis in a room, this is what you should do for your campaign. And I definitely can't go into public like and say it over the loudspeaker or on Fox News. So what they do is they put these things in like their little, like essentially dead drop spots on things like buried deep in the website of the political consultant themselves, because the Super PAC has no limits on how much money they can raise and how much money they can spend. So they do the polling and they do all the analysis and they do all that stuff. And what happened, people are calling this a leak, but this is how it's designed to happen. It's kind of hilarious when you call it leaks, because part of your brain is like, this has to be an accident. But no, they just did it dumbly. They have to put it somewhere where you can get it publicly so that they can say that Ron DeSantis just kind of happened on it randomly.
You don't think they could have just like, I don't know, posted it in his neighborhood or something, a little less low key than a website that's accessible to all?
Absolutely, but like another thing is like how the type of advice. I'm going to show you some pictures of like where the things that the folks are seizing on when they say with Donald Trump's team, what they're seizing on when they say, listen, Donald Trump built this guy's career. Of course, he can't attack him. Like here is an ad that Ron DeSantis ran when he was running for governor, basically saying that he teaches his kids all the Trump stuff. Here's another one. Here he is reading to his kid Art of the Deal and calling himself a pit bull Trump defender. Of course he has to do all that stuff. Of course he has to be in this weird position. And I think the only way that this guy has a snowball's chance in hell is if Donald Trump is literally in jail. You get people like Chris Christie that are coming out swinging and are saying like Trump is bad. I am the alternative to Trump, and I'm a prosecutor who's good on my feet. He absolutely liquefied Marco Rubio in a debate in 2016. The guy could not recover. That's why no one really talks about Marco Rubio anymore. The guy was just repeating himself like a broken robot. And Chris Christie was the only one who was able to like draw blood beside Trump in any of those debates. And
I just thought Rubio wasn't getting like kind of the attention because he had a sponsorship with Hassani. Like, that's honestly what I think of exactly. Like just on the side, I will never forget that.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report, and you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.